Okay, so recently I've been testing a lot of eSIMs with the goal to find the best, and while I haven't quite found perfection, aloSIM really caught my eye. Not just because they're affordable or have great customer service, but because they offer free international calling and texting. Now, this isn't some clunky add-on or a service that's behind a paywall. This is part of their ecosystem, and that's thanks to their sister company, Hushed. And here's where it gets interesting. With Hushed, you can get a separate number to make calls, send texts, and keep your personal number private, all without needing a new SIM or phone. But how does this apply to eSIMs? Well, when you buy one of aloSIM's data packages, you also get a free Canadian or US number, complete with enough credit for around 30 minutes of calls or 50 text messages. So if that sounds interesting, stick around because later in the video, I'll show you exactly how this works and how to set it up. But before we do that, we're going to go and test aloSIM to see how their eSIMs perform. Okay, as you can see, we're in the middle of nowhere and it's freezing. I've been doing some speed tests and the results have been really impressive. Out here in what I would hope would be like a remote enough location to really test this eSIM, I've been getting speeds of roughly 175 megabits per second, with it peaking at over 200. And the upload is also pretty good. So if you wanted to, you could just download and upload large files right here in this field. Now, I think the reason for these solid speeds, and not just because there must be a 5G mast nearby, but because this UK eSIM that I'm testing has access to 4 networks. That gives me a far greater chance of staying connected, even in a remote location like this. And if there's one thing you should consider when buying an eSIM, it's how many networks does it connect to. In some countries, there are fewer networks available, and that's totally fine. But in places like the UK or much of Europe, there are plenty. So take this one from Airalo. This is a UK eSIM. They are also a really popular provider, but this only connects to EE. So if you did choose Airalo and you went somewhere with no EE coverage, then you'd be screwed. But with aloSIM, this wouldn't be a problem because your phone would just choose to connect to a different network and the one with the best coverage. In urban locations, the speeds have also been solid. At home, I clocked over 100 megabits per second, which is hilariously slower than right here in this field, but that still means that I could use this eSIM for work. I could tether my phone and still make video calls and download files. It would still work perfectly well. So I'm pleased to say that this UK eSIM has performed well, and if you're thinking about giving aloSIM a try yourself, then just make sure to use our discount code, which will save you $3 on your first purchase. And also, if you'd like to support myself and the channel, there's a description box. There's a description box. Of course, there always is a description box. There's an affiliate link in the description box below. Okay, so I've been doing a lot of digging and I put together a spreadsheet comparing aloSIM and Airalo and Holafly, 2 very popular providers. Now, Holafly focuses on unlimited plans, so I compared their packages with aloSIM's unlimited options, while for Airalo, I looked at popular destinations like France, the US, and Japan, as well as their regional plans, so places like Europe, South America, and Asia. And what I found was very interesting. The first big advantage for aloSIM is that they have these unique regional plans, which I think are really awesome. They have places like the French West Indies, British Isles, and Scandinavia. These regions you won't find with Airalo and Holafly, so immediately if you're looking to go to these destinations, well, aloSIM becomes the top choice. But in more common regions like Asia, Europe, and North America, aloSIM and Airalo are neck and neck. For example, they basically charge identical prices in Asia and Europe, while Airalo is slightly cheaper per gigabyte in North America. But where aloSIM really shines is in regions like the Caribbean and South America. Their 1 gigabyte plan is more affordable, and in South America, aloSIM offers a 5 gigabyte plan for $20, while Airalo charges a whopping $60, which is a huge difference if you're a heavy data user. For specific destinations like Germany and France, Airalo and aloSIM are practically the same, with only a minor difference in Argentina, and honestly, the pricing parity between these providers does feel intentional. For unlimited, aloSIM is also a strong choice. Their prices are slightly cheaper than Holafly, although it is worth noting that they do not currently offer unlimited plans for the US or Canada, and generally their coverage is far more limited compared to Holafly. But here's the thing, I probably wouldn't recommend unlimited plans anyway, especially if you're a heavy data user. That's because after a certain amount of usage, you will get throttled. And aloSIM is upfront about this, which I think is great. They say you'll get 1.5 gigabytes before throttling, and this is about right. My tests in the UK found that I received 1.4 before my speeds dropped. Holafly, on the other hand, doesn't specify how much data you'll get before throttling. They just say it depends on the networks, and personally, I find this to be a bit of a red flag when choosing an eSIM. And that's the key issue with unlimited. It doesn't mean unlimited speeds, and these plans often appeal to heavy users, but ironically, if you're a heavy user, you're better off with a fixed data plan where your speeds won't be diminished. Ultimately, I found aloSIM to be the better choice in terms of pricing. Although they are just slightly cheaper and practically identical, and that does feel intentional, but that's fine because they don't need to aggressively undercut these other providers to stand out. They can just differentiate themselves with Hushed and the added benefit of free international calling and texting. So once you've purchased your eSIM and hopefully made sure to use the Manito discount code, you can access Hushed by going to My eSIMs and then tapping on your eSIM and under phone number, selecting calling and texting. From here, tap the redeem button and confirm your email address. You'll then receive an email like this one with your username and password to access the app. Then simply download Hushed, log in using the details from the email, and then tap Add Number to choose either a Canadian or US telephone number. I randomly picked this one from Arizona. At the top, you'll see a free plan available. Tap it to check the details, including when it expires and how much free credit you'll get. And I know $1 doesn't sound like much, but according to Hushed, that is enough for around 30 minutes of free calls. You can then activate the plan by tapping Buy for Free Now. From here, using Hushed is super easy. You can add numbers from your contacts or manually enter them, and to make a call, just tap Phone and dial a number. I tested it by calling myself. The call came through instantly and from a number originating in Tombstone, Arizona. And yes, that is a pretty badass name for a city. And messaging works just as easily, and you can send photos like this one of a light bulb, videos, and even audio messages. Again, this is all done directly through the app. Now, I think some people might consider it a downside that you have to use a separate application, but honestly, I doubt you'll need to use the Alo app that much. Unless, of course, you need to top up or check your balance or perhaps install a new eSIM entirely. And the installation process is really straightforward. Just tap the eSIM you want to install, and then under Installation Guide, tap View. Here you'll see three options: automatic, which is the easiest, QR code, which is great if you're sharing it with someone else, or manual, which involves copying and pasting a lot of information. I recommend automatic, so just tap Install eSIM now, and once it's activated, add a custom label so it's easy to recognize, and then set your new aloSIM as your mobile data. And if you want peace of mind that your phone won't use your primary SIM or the one you normally use at home, then you can temporarily deactivate it inside your phone settings by toggling Turn on this line to off. But do remember, by doing this, you obviously won't be able to make or receive calls using your normal number, but of course you could use the Hushed app instead and also avoid paying those ridiculous international calling rates. If you do run into any issues during installation, aloSIM has pretty solid support, which is also somewhat rare when it comes to eSIM providers. I've often waited hours, in some cases even days, to get a response, but with aloSIM, it was a totally different story. Within their app and also on their website, I had a response from what seemed like a human within 5 minutes. And the most surprising thing, I emailed them and got a reply within 2 minutes. That blew my mind. I mean, email is usually the slowest form of contact. Like, I wasn't expecting to hear back for at least a few hours. It also wasn't just me who had this experience. On Trustpilot, they have some really positive reviews, and a lot of people have also said they had a good experience with their support. So aloSIM has definitely proven to be a strong contender in the eSIM market. Their pricing is competitive, and while it's often very similar to providers like Airalo and Holafly, they stand out with features like multi-network connectivity, which ensures reliable coverage, and also their unique regional plans for destinations like the French West Indies and Scandinavia. But what truly sets them apart is the integration with Hushed. Offering free calls and texts is something you just don't get with most other eSIM providers. So whether you're a light traveler or a heavy data user, having a service that combines reliable internet and affordable roaming data with international communication at no extra cost is a game changer. And if you're considering giving them a try, which I highly recommend, then do make sure to use our discount code Manito3. That'll get you $3 off your first purchase. Just check out the link in the description box to get started, and that is an affiliate link, so by using it, you'll be supporting myself and the channel. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video useful, then give it a like, and please consider subscribing. Goodbye.